Welcome to Why Don't We Dress for Dinner Anymore with our host, senior style icon, Teddy Krotman.
And natural redhead and business consultant, Melissa Pierce.
What are we talking about today, Teddy?
Well, we're going to start with our new segment, Style It or Pile It.
Okay.
So I brought this dress with me, Melissa, that I literally have not worn for 8 years.
For 8 years?
8 years.
And it's still in your closet?
It's still in my closet, pristine. Okay.
Okay.
So I will show it to you. Okay, this dress, let me give you the backstory on this dress. I'll stand up for one quick sec.
Bring it over here.
Yeah, I'll bring it right here. Okay, this dress, this red dress, very simple as you can see, kind of sheath with just a little froof there. That dress I wore.
You love your froof.
I love my froof. That dress I wore to the first gala that we gave, fundraising gala that we gave for Breaking Free when I was the executive director. And the theme of the event was black and red. And so we have beautiful decorations that were all black and red and black vases and all kinds. It was really pretty, the setup. And so I figured, well, I got to wear a red dress, right? So I'm looking for a red dress. And, you know, when you're an executive, when you're the head of an organization, you're expected to look businesslike even at a party.
Yeah.
You know, you're not going to be wearing your décolletage showing. You're not going to be wearing a backless dress. You're not going to be wearing any pieces of skin showing or body forming that
Which
you can
is
see
too bad,
every
Teddy,
curve.
because 8 years ago you had some décolletage you could show off.
Maybe not.
Oh, you did. I know.
But
you
anyway.
did. Okay.
But so I bought this dress at Lord & Taylor. I liked it because it was red. It was simple. It's got just a little scoop neck, whatever. It fit nicely. Of course, I had it tailored to fit me, you know, even better. And so it fit the bill for that particular event.
Okay.
But it's not really my style, you know that. So it's a very conservative kind of a dress. And I thought, well, it's so nice. You know, I only wore it once. Maybe there'll be some kind of, you know, family event or something like that I could wear it to. But needless to say, I've been retired from Breaking Free for 6 years. And that was during my close to my second year going into Breaking Free. So I literally have not worn it for 8 years.
For 8 years.
Yeah,
and
8
what
years.
have you been wearing to family events?
Well, different things. I have another red dress. It's a little bit more, you know, V-neck. You know, not a lot of décolletage showing, but another red dress that I wore to Ken. I had thrown Ken a 70th birthday party. So that was a big family event. There haven't been a lot of really big family events anymore.
Any
you know,
funerals coming up that you wear that dress to?
a red dress at a funeral, at a Greek funeral.
Yeah.
You want to be cursed for the rest of your life. You want everybody spitting on you and not in a good way? Because, you know, there is a good Greek spit. That's the tu-tu-tu, which means if I tell you, Melissa, you're so pretty, tu-tu-tu-tu-tu, I pretend like I'm spitting on you. I go tu-tu-tu-tu-tu like that. That's a pretend spit. And I do that because I don't want the evil eye to come to you, because the Greeks have a belief that there's a lot of jealousy in this world. And believe me, there is. Family. There's a lot of jealousy, family members. Anyway, the evil eye, have you ever seen my Greek people wearing the mati?
Yeah, I have.
It's called the mati.
Given them as gifts.
Yes.
Yeah,
and that's to keep away the evil spirits, keep away the jealousy. So like if I say, Melissa, you're so pretty, and there's somebody in the room that's like jealous of you, they're going to send the vibrations to you, and all of a sudden you're going to get disfigured or something's going to happen to your beauty. That's how dramatic the Greeks are. So the good spit is tu-tu-tu-tu. The bad spit is, what are you doing? Get the hell out of here. You're wearing the red dress to the funeral. You have no respect. You know, forget it. That would not be. There's no red dresses at Greek funerals.
All right. So obviously pile it, because you haven't worn it for 8 years.
8 years.
You haven't picked it for anything.
Nothing.
You've never pulled it out of your closet and said maybe this.
Well, I did once, said maybe this, and then I went and bought another dress.
That wasn't Greek. That wasn't
No,
a Greek
it was
spit.
just
That
an
was me
event.
laughing.
It
That
was
was
just,
me laughing.
yeah, no
Just so
spit.
you know.
Yeah. But yeah,
I wasn't
it was
cursing
just like, yeah, it's just, it was fine for its purpose. But since then, I really have no purpose to wear it.
And why have you kept it in your closet?
Because it was still good. You know, I still have that mentality where if something isn't worn or torn or stained, you know, it's like, well, keep it. You might need it later.
Oh, okay.
You know, I mean, it's perfect. You know, there's not a drop or nothing on it. I mean,
of course, because you only wore it once.
Yeah, I mean, you know, somebody could get this at the Goodwill for, you know, probably $10. You know, which would be a fabulous deal considering what I paid for it at Lord & Taylor, and I wore it once, you know. But it's not my style.
All right, so style it or pilot. Obviously pilot.
Pilot, yeah. Give it away to somebody
Obviously.
who can appreciate it.
Yeah. Now I wonder what your closet looks like and how much of your closet is just stuff that you bought wore once.
A lot of it is. Because, like I said, I have the full walk-in closet in my bedroom.
Yeah.
I have the closet in the guest room. Plus, I have an entire room filled with 3 racks of clothes and about 60 pairs of shoes in that room alone. So that room, in the dressing room, everything is new and stuff that I wear. In my closet in my bedroom, I would say probably I could get rid of about 30% of those clothes.
Wow.
And still have plenty of clothes left. You know, but it's just like stuff is in such good condition. I hate to toss it. You know, it's like, well, I might have an occasion to wear it down the road. You know, you always think that.
What we actually need is to get a co-host the same size as you. Like a co-host, the same size as you, who just shows up naked every time, and we just send her to your closet to wear the 30%.
They have to come naked. They can't have any clothing on.
Well,
like a paper doll, they're going to be.
Yeah, they're just like a paper doll.
Like a living paper doll.
We need a segment called Living Paper Doll that just goes to your closet and picks something out every day to wear home.
Well, and, you know, I'm embarrassed to even say this, but there are probably a few pieces in there that I've never even worn. It's one of those, like, what was I thinking?
I feel like we all have those.
Yeah, we have moments of weakness.
We all have those, yeah.
Moments of weakness where it's like, what was I thinking when I bought that?
Right. Like, oh, I have one that I'll bring next time.
Yeah.
I have one that I bought, and I was like, certainly I am daring enough to wear this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm never going to wear it. I'm never going to wear this.
You're not as daring as you thought.
What?
Well, I think both of us are that way. You know, I think we appreciate avant-garde looks or, you know, fashion, high fashion and all that kind of stuff. But when it comes to our personal style, I think both of us are kind of stuck in our particular own vibe. And if it's not fitting that particular vibe, it's like, you know, I tried to step out of my box, but I really like it in my box.
Right. Or it's just too high maintenance. Like, oh, this has a train and
something.
People are going to step on it. I'm going to fall over in it.
Right. Or it's a little tight in the waist, and it's like, I want to eat tonight. I don't feel like, I have what I call good eating clothes. I have good eating clothes.
I remember you saying this.
It's the truth. When you're going to go out to a really good, nice dinner, you should always make sure that you have flexible clothing on, because otherwise, if you have something that's already pinching you and you're kind of sucked in anyway, just think how you're going to feel after that meal. You're going to feel like you have to throw up.
Stylists, take note. Listen.
So if we're going out to a nice dinner, I mean, if I'm going to an event, which a lot of the fashion events are just drinks and quote unquote light bites, which, you know, you rarely even get a light bite. That's fine. Then you can go all cinched and pinched in because you're not really going to be getting any more volume in the middle. But if I'm going to Gibson's Steakhouse and I'm going to chow down really good, I'm wearing something that's below my waist or made of stretchy material so I can enjoy the meal that I'm spending, you know, a lot of money on.
This is what I'm saying. Personal stylists need to take note when they're saying, "Hey, where are you going?"
Yes.
And then they're like, "Hey, I'm going to dinner." They need to say, "What kind of dinner are you going to?
Right.
Is it chow down dinner or is it
Yeah.
light appetizer dinner?
Yeah.
Because we need to make clothes that fit." They're not teaching you this at style school.
Right.
Do you need, what did you call them?
Good eating clothes.
Good eating clothes. Or do you
I got my good eating dress on.
Do you need salad clothes? I'm not going to find that in a stylist, like a personal stylist, like manual.
Well,
how to be a
gotta
personal stylist.
Is this person going to be walking around a lot? So is it an outfit that they're walking like Morticia Adams, with little baby stuffs? And I have clothes that are like that. But if it's a place that I know I'm just going to be standing around posing, maybe, just, leaning up against a wall or something like that, I'll wear that. But if it's a place where I'm going to be moving around or whatever, you got to think about the flexibility of the outfit too, because you're not going to enjoy yourself, and nobody wants, as good as you look, and we all suffer for beauty, we say, you don't want to suffer that much.
I don't want to suffer.
Especially at my age, for Christ's sake, I've suffered enough, and let me have a little pleasure before, you throw the grass over me.
Okay, speaking of pleasure, you were talking about your guilty pleasure. You started watching this show called The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. It was piqued my interest because I grew up Mormon. All right, so I can't imagine that watching women quilt is thrilling television.
No,
so
this is, okay, let me tell you how I started watching The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. I always exercise Dancing with the Stars because I like the music. It's fast. It makes me pedal fast or whatever. There is one fabulous contestant. Her name is Whitney, and she is like a professional dancer. She's beautiful. She's just hits the mark every time. She's at the top of the leaderboard, as they call it.
Okay.
And she's from this show. She and 6 other Mormon women started a thing on TikTok called Mom Talk. And they would all dance, and they became very popular influencers, making thousands and thousands of dollars from TikTok. 2 of the women from The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, one I think was named Jen Affleck, and her husband is actually a second cousin to Ben Affleck, the actor.
Okay.
She got thrown off the beginning, maybe 3-4 episodes, and she was a good dancer though. But Whitney is still at the top of the leaderboard. So they kept mentioning that she's on TikTok with Mom Talk, but she's also on this show called Secret Lives of Mormon Wives on Hulu. So I started watching it. And I remember you told me you were brought up in the Mormon faith. Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking Mormons, I'm thinking buttoned up high collars, very pristine, watching every P and Q, no alcohol, no coffee, very highly religious. This show blew my mind. These women, they show them at the beginning, they're all wearing the same powder blue coat. Then they take off their coats and they all have the sexy clothes on. One of them was involved in a wife swapping sex orgy.
What?
Another one is going through domestic violence issues, and then she got pregnant by the guy with the domestic violence issues, although she got charged for the domestic violence, which was very interesting. They talk about not being able to, if they're, adhering to the religion, not being able to drink coffee or alcohol, so they're constantly drinking soda pop, which I would think would rot their teeth out. In Utah, they said literally every block has a soda pop shop. And they drink pop like it's water. I've never seen anything like it in my life.
It's not like there's what were they called? Like a fountain. Like in the olden times.
A soda fountain? They have those where they mix them.
They have those. But,
yes.
But also it's like there's a gas station with the 100 flavors.
No, they go into this shop. I can't remember the name of it. It's very popular there.
I did live there.
And this one woman ordered a 42-ounce pop that they mixed specially for her. And it had pineapple, strawberry, these syrups.
Yeah.
The syrups were all sugar-free, so you can imagine the chemicals that are probably in it. And then they asked them if they want it fizzy or flat. So they can drink flat soda as well.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so strange. Like, they're like, oh, we don't have these vices, so let's invent another one.
Well, that's what they said. They said our vice is soda pop.
A new vice.
Yeah, our vice is soda pop.
I remember being in high school walking after my family would do a.m. Bible study at 5:30 in the morning. So
Oh,
we would do
geez.
Bible study at 5:30 in the
Oh
morning.
my gosh.
Then I would walk to seminary, which was where the teenagers studied the religious books together
Yeah.
before school. And I would secretly drink a cup of coffee on the way to seminary because I was a rebel. I did nothing else wrong.
Yeah.
But I had my one vice.
Your
And I would
coffee.
put like 60, maybe it was like 10 French vanilla creamers from 7-Eleven
Oh
in
my
it. So it
gosh.
could be palatable.
Yeah.
So I could go to seminary and have my second Bible study of the
Yeah.
day before I went to school, and then came home. Before then, I would go to young women's class
Oh my gosh.
at church so that we could participate in some other religious
Yeah.
function. And it was constant, but it was like you needed to have your one vice so you could feel like you could participate at all in the culture of American consumerism in any way.
Yeah. Well, the reason that I brought that up is because I know you were brought up in the Mormon faith, but it brought the question to my head was I had this assumption that this is the way Mormon women dress, and obviously they consider themselves faithful Mormons, and they're wearing all these sexed up clothes. Every other word, by the way, coming out of their mouth is F. So there's no problem, I guess, with swearing. And it brought the question to my mind, how has religion tried to shape especially the way women dress? I know there's also some religions that, like the Sikhs in India, wear their turbans for religious reasons and things like that. But I wanted to focus on the way religion has shaped the way, or tried to shape the way women dress under the guise of religion, when in reality, many of those tenets that were many years ago all of a sudden were removed. And the reason they were removed, in my estimation, and I've heard other people say this too, is because attendance was falling in church. So what's the best way to get people back into the church is start dropping some of these quote unquote religious tenets that were never really religious tenets to begin with. For example, I was brought up Greek Orthodox. Now, when I say I was brought up Greek Orthodox, we went to church exactly once or twice a year. My mother felt she needed to pretend like we were getting enrolled in Sunday school. So we'd go for 1 or 2 classes at the beginning of the year, and then that would be it. And then we'd go to church on Good Friday, which is actually a very big holiday in the Greek Orthodox
We would call
church.
people who did that in the Mormon church Jack Mormons.
Yeah, what the hell?
You were in Jack.
We were basically
Greek
not religious.
Orthodox.
We were not religious. But in the Greek Orthodox Church, when I was growing up, and that would be in the late 50s, early 60s, all women had to have head coverings. And it was the same way in the Catholic Church, which is very similar to Greek Orthodox. All women had to have head coverings. So every woman in the church either had a hat on, or once in a while you'd wear one of those little lace doilies. Or once in a while you'd see a woman with a babushka on. But you had to have your head covered for some reason. I don't know what that was about. Again, it was controlling of the way women look, or often for some reason.
So you wouldn't be tempting.
Cover your hair.
You wouldn't be a temptress to the men.
A temptress. Yeah, what temptress is a 10-year-old child going to be?
Well,
let's go.
Don't
even ask that question.
Yeah, I won't.
But again, those rules were all eventually dropped, usually around the 70s, 80s, where you started seeing women going into the church with no hat on or no doily on their head. And then, the Greek Orthodox took a little bit longer. The Catholic Church caught up, was that they couldn't wear pants to church.
I do feel like this happens with a lot of rules in all churches.
Yes.
Church follows the trends of law and of society, but they are normally 10 to 20 years behind.
Yeah.
Right.
But supposedly they make it sound like it's biblical. That somehow it's coming from the Bible. When in fact it changes.
It came from on high.
Yeah,
right?
Bullshit.
When I went to church, modesty was the thing, right?
Yeah.
Children had to be modest, but my parents had to be modest to a higher degree. They actually had to wear undergarments that kind of showed. They called them garments.
Right.
Actually, they were basically just white
Yes.
t-shirts and underwear that like
Right.
were longer underwear. They were
Right.
shorts.
Right. And they
t-shirts.
still do that.
And they wear those garments. These women on television
They do wear garments.
Yeah.
They said they wear garments. So they're
But-
still wearing what we call the magic underwear.
The magic underwear. Yeah. Those
Yeah.
they're swearing that shocks.
Every
that
other
shocks
word
me.
out of their mind
I
is
mean,
F.
obviously they're doing it for shock value. They're television
But they're
reality
Mormons.
stars, but they're
And they go to the Mormon church.
They're certainly not dropping F-bombs at church. I can tell you that.
No.
No.
But they're dropping it on TV, and the
Right.
church still allows them in.
Well, I often say this. In hundreds of different contexts because my father said it to me once when I complained about people showing up to church that did bad things.
Mm-hmm.
He says, it doesn't matter what gets you in the door. It matters that you're here.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. Like he was like,
why does it matter that you don't do bad things, but you're just sitting in church? Isn't that kind of being hypocritical?
Right. Well, it is being hypocritical, but it was basically, it's not your job to judge.
Mm-hmm.
That's God's job. The fact that they got in the door to church is the thing.
Uh-huh.
Right. That was
attendance is always the thing.
Attendance is the thing.
Because you need to fill those baskets, man.
The gold star. Well, 10% in the Mormon church is 10%
the tithing.
of the tithing, right? But right, at least they got in they thought God was important enough that they sat in the seat, or at least the judgment of their peers.
Yeah.
But right, it shocks me that they swore. It doesn't shock me that they drank soda or Coke or
constantly
whatever.
drinking pop.
Like,
it was amazing.
I did not grow up drinking.
Yeah, pop everywhere. They'd all sit around the dinner table and they all have their styrofoam cups of pop with their straws in it. So, like when you would think of having a cocktail party for like the Real Housewives, they have pop parties instead.
I'm sorry, Teddy, that's so trashy. That's so trashy.
But it's not, that didn't surprise me. I mean, it was a little like eye-opening that they drank so much pop. But what really surprised me was the way they dressed. Because, like I said, I had this preconceived notion that Mormons were very conservative, which they are. I mean, they tend to be a very Republican population of people. But, very conservatively dressed. These girls are walking around like, I'm sorry, they look like freaking hookers. They have, they wear kind of nice clothes, but mostly they're dressed like not nicely. I mean, they're not stylish. They're just trashy looking.
But let's hold on. Let's bring it back. You were like, oh, how has religion shaped the way women dress?
Right.
And then you're like,
but it gets thrown out when they need more people in attendance. Then all of a sudden,
and then you're like, oh, they look like hookers.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, they look like hookers.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, how do we separate what the flock looks like from hookers? We make sure the flock dress modestly so you know who is a righteous woman.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, not enough people are coming to church because nobody cares if you're a righteous woman or not.
Right.
So we need the women to start dressing like hookers to attract all the righteous men back into church.
They'll come back to church. Well, all those girls that are dressed like hookers.
Also,
now, I have to say this. I
haven't heard the term hookers in a really long time. Also, let's just say hookers.
Well, what do you use for prostitutes?
I think we say prostitutes.
You just say prostitutes? That's the formal term.
I know, but nobody says hookers anymore.
Oh, yeah, I hear people say hooker all the time.
Are they from your generation? I love the word
no,
hooker.
Dear, I've heard people from your generation say hookers.
Because they're hooking
Maybe you're just too, closeted. You're not out in the real world there, girl. You're too busy consulting.
I just grew up Mormon.
Yeah, no. But I mean, here's the thing. These girls, it's from like one extreme to the other. I'm not saying that in fact, one of them at the beginning, my favorite dancer, Whitney, she is dressed like a Mormon. And I mean, it's bad. She's got this big frilly dress on with the big square neckline. And she looks very different than she does on Dancing with the Stars.
Wait, she's doing like the gunny sacks dress?
No, well, it's just like she looks like a dress that Raggedy Ann would wear. Like with a pinafore.
Like the gunny sacks, like the pioneer woman kind of.
A little bit, but it had a square neck. It wasn't, all the way up. So at the beginning of the show, Whitney kind of dresses more like that, where the other girls are wearing like the bra type tops and the, ripped up jeans and the, the kind of more sexier looking clothes. Now I'm only on the first season, but Whitney's dresses more like that than the other girls do. The other girls tend to dress more saucy, looking. But I was just, like I said, it's not only the Mormon faith, it's all of the religions. When you think about it, they all, to some degree, and especially for women, they try to control the way women present themselves because, you've heard this saying before, like if a woman is dressed in a sexy manner, and let's say she gets sexually attacked, for the longest time, people would actually blame the victim and say, well, she was asking for it. Look at the way she was dressed.
Right. What were you wearing?
Right. So, you could, wear a micro. We used to wear micro minis that basically just covered your, hoo-ha area.
Your holy.
Yeah. I mean, barely covered that with, knee-high boots and stuff like that. That was in style in the 70s. Now, if you wear that, that would be considered almost a little bit of a hooker look, although it can be fashioned up and you could wear micro minis and that kind of thing. It's the way, it's kind of presented.
I wish,
from trashy to stylish.
I just wish all prostitutes dressed as Little Bo Peep now, because then they would earn
They'd probably get more
hooker title. It strikes me that the Mormon wives likely dress that way for the show specifically because they are finally able to express parts of themselves they cannot express in their daily lives.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the things that's very interesting on that show that they talk about is that they feel that being on this show, they're showing the next generation of Mormon women that they're more liberated. Yeah. Their adherence to the Mormon faith, but their lives aren't regulated by it. So, for example, just one kind of saucy part was Whitney, the one that I'm telling you is the fabulous dancer. Yeah. She was given a contract by a vibrator company.
Good Lord.
$20,000, and all she had to do is hold up the vibrator. Okay, just like a still picture of her holding up the vibrator. So she asked all her friends what she should do. One or two of them said, oh, that wouldn't be, good for the religion or whatever. But another one said, I wouldn't do it unless they gave me $100,000. Then she went and she said, well, what's so wrong about sex? And then she actually goes to her mom and asks her mom what her mom thinks. And her mom says, well, I don't think that would be very appropriate. And she goes, why, Mom? She goes, I didn't even know how to have sex. My husband and I, she says, if anybody had filmed us having sex on our wedding night, it was a joke. We didn't even know what the heck to do because you never even talked to me about it. Yeah. So Whitney is now trying to say that, because she's getting 20 grand for this vibrator commercial, that she's going to show the next generation of Mormon women that there's nothing wrong with having a healthy sexual relationship with somebody. And if that includes a sex toy or whatever, so be it. There's nothing wrong with that. So as you said, I think this group of women is trying to show other Mormon women that, you don't have to live this holier than thou life every single day of the week, as long as you adhere to some of the tenets of the church, I guess. And
do you think that this show got the sign off of the higher echelons of the Mormon patriarchy as a way to covertly recruit people to the Mormon faith?
Well, I wouldn't be surprised. That's what other churches do. They all do it. Like I said, the Catholic Church, their attendance rate is down 50% from what it was back in the 60s and the 70s.
Did you see J.B. Pritzker was in Rome and visited the Pope?
Yes. Well, because the Pope is from Chicago.
I know.
So he wants, that. And he's also criticized Trump. So I think JB is going to be running for president. So he wants that Pope endorsement. Because, Chicago's a very Catholic city. We have a lot of Irish, Italian, Polish. We have we have almost as many Polish people in Chicago as they have in Warsaw. So we have a huge Hispanic population. All tend to be Catholic, driven.
I'd like to see some Pope inspired.
Yeah, I think all of all of the churches to some degree, and that's part of what the point I was trying to make is they set up all these rules and regulations for how women should dress and look. And as they saw their attendance declining over the years, as women got more hip to what's this crap you're telling me? I have to wear this on my head, or I have to have this, or I have to do that. Women and their families started getting away from going to church. So as that happened, as attendance started to drop, they started to drop a lot of the regulations about dressing.
Yeah, I was trying to think if there aren't many regulations for men in most Christian religions.
Right.
But I do see it like Muslim religions.
Yes.
There are, and
The headpieces.
right. In
Yeah.
Orthodox Jewish religions, certainly there
Right.
are many regulations for men as well as women.
Yeah.
But in Christian religions, no, there haven't.
Yeah.
been.
It tends to be
So
more female focused on
it's
what we
more
should or
female-focused,
shouldn't wear
yeah.
to church, especially, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, I do remember only being able to wear dresses to church.
Yes, we could too, only in the Greek Orthodox Church. If you saw a woman going to church in pants, it would be like, what? You know, where the Catholic Church was like ahead of us, because I remember seeing a lot of my friends going to church in pants, and I would say, they let you go in the church with pants?
I remember wearing a black dress not the same black dress, but
Yeah.
a black dress 2 Sundays in a row to church, and that being scandalous in the 90s.
So black was not accepted wear?
Black was not accepted wear, right? Because I wasn't mourning. Was
Uh-huh.
I goth? Was that concerning?
Oh.
But that was post Satanic Panic,
Uh-huh.
but it was also concerning.
Yeah.
Right? It was
Uh-huh.
scandalous for a teenager to wear black to
Black.
church
Mhm.
twice in a row.
Yeah.
That was some sort of pattern that was not okay.
Yeah. And let me ask you this, and this has nothing to do with fashion, but it's just my own
Let's wrap it
curiosity.
up.
What is it about coffee that Mormons can't drink coffee?
It is not anything to do really with coffee. It is more to do with all things in moderation,
Mm-hmm.
and caffeine is addictive.
Yeah.
So anything that is addictive
Uh-huh.
is considered something that you shouldn't have. So all of
Okay.
these soda things,
Yeah.
like that sugar is addictive, and
Yeah.
probably that's like their only
Yeah.
advice. Probably that's actually not a great thing.
Yeah. So why not
so
drink the
ca-
coffee?
So right, not drinking coffee,
Yeah.
but that is like more. And I will tell you, there's a story. My mother told me this, so like
Yeah.
give or take the truth of it, right? She said, really, tobacco and coffee became a real pull in the Mormon church. Like it was outlawed when the
Yeah.
tabernacle was built. This is the big tabernacle in Utah was
Yeah.
built, and the person cleaning the tabernacle was the prophet's wife,
Uh-huh.
and she would have to clean up all of the tobacco and coffee stains.
So that's why it was probably.
That's why it was outlawed.
See?
It was outlawed because
Has
she
nothing
didn't
to do
want to
with
clean up
religion.
the tobacco stains. She was like, I am fucking tired of
Yeah.
this.
Well, but you know what? That makes my point.
Yeah.
A lot of rules are set up by churches and religions that really have nothing to do with religion. It just has to do with somebody's convenience, somebody's own personal outlook, controlling of women, that kind of thing. So that just makes my point that a lot
Yeah.
of these things really, especially the dress of women and how to look in a church and all that kind of thing. Again, back to, my hooker analogy, which is we judge. Remember we talked the last time about being judged. And so you're going to be judged when you walk into that church. Do you look like a holy woman or do you look like a hooker?
Are you Bo Peep?
Yeah.
Or are you a sheep?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, I am beginning to become a preacher.
Yeah.
Are you Bo Peep or are you a sheep? Are you part of the flock or are you a ham hock? And with that, Teddi, why don't we dress for dinner anymore?
I don't know, Melissa. Why don't we?
Beats me.
Why don't we go to church?